I just had a miraculous experience and I wanted to share it with you before we start the Tao of Women. This morning, just like every morning, I wake up, I connect with the water, I light my candle, I say my prayers, I make my tea, and I sit and meditate. And some point in that process, I invite my essence to come forward and to guide me and to lead me. And today, in my meditation, as I was preparing to meditate, and then when I came out of it, I was getting ready to take my walk. And I was about to just take my normal walk that I take, which is beautiful on the mountain. Today, I had a sense that I needed to stop again and listen. So I sat down and I went inside my womb. And then I allowed my womb to unfurl and I tapped into my essence again and I could see glimpses of a river. So I was like, oh, I know. Do you want me to go that way to that river? Okay, yeah. But aren't I supposed to take a walk? I need to take a walk. There's not a path at that river. It's like, okay, whatever. I'll go that way. So I go toward that river and then I'm like, I'm going to take this side road over this bridge on the way. And then I get close to the bridge and I'm like, well, but what if I could go to this river? Are you asking me to go to this river? And I pull over and it's like right where they were processing a deer. And I'm like, this is clearly not where I'm supposed to be. And it's like, that's okay, just get out and find where you're supposed to be. You'll find your pathway. So I start to walk across the bridge and I see the pathway and I see that there's this church and a cemetery. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's where I'm supposed to be. So I get back in the car, I park at the church, and I lock it up, and then I go down to the water. And the water is just delightful and gentle. And I sit in on a stone in the middle of the water, and I recorded a little insight about gentleness. And then I was realizing this river is by the church, by the cemetery. How many prayers, how many blessings, how many tears, how many baptisms, how many ashes have been floating through this water for over 100 years. And so when it was time, I found litter and I got to gather some holy water for the plant. And then up the pathway, there were some greens, and I harvested those greens, and I placed the greens in the water into the car. And then, with reverence, I entered the sacred space of the church and the cemetery, and I passed through the gate, and I stayed along the periphery, and I opened myself like in White Crane, Qigong, we open our wings and we capture prayers and insights and beauty into our feathers, and we carry these prayers with us as White Crane practitioners. And so I walked through the pathways open and receptive and found my voice singing variations of Amazing Grace and Let's Go to the River and Pray. And I was just moved by the moment and held my wings and my heart open as I just moved around the perimeter of the cemetery, being guided, being led, not attached to any one thing, and then realizing, oh, you're asking me to carry you across the bridge. And so I started to bow through the gate of the cemetery and started to go back and cross the bridge over the water. It's an old covered bridge. Not a covered bridge, but an old bridge. And on the part of the bridge support, halfway through, there was a white bird, like a dove. And so I walked and said, I'll carry you across the bridge, but the white bird will carry you the rest of the way. And so as I walked in silence, carrying these prayers, these remembrances, these blessings, these spirits, these souls, these gifts, the bird waited for me to arrive. And when I arrived at the halfway point, right over the water, I arrived at the bird. And I only saw one bird. And when I arrived, the bird flew. But when that bird flew, there were 3 or 4 other birds that flew that I didn't see until they started flying, and they flew in all different directions, carrying these prayers, carrying these spirits into the heavens, into eternity. And I finished walking across the bridge. To the other side, I touched the ground and turned around and claimed, you are released, you are free. My part is complete. Only I am returning back across this bridge. So I turned around. I walked back across the bridge. I went straight to the water. I washed and cleansed and blessed and purified my face and my arms, releasing it all back into the water to be dissolved. I found my feet, found the earth path, and on that earth path I declared, I am complete. This is complete. I am whole. I am walking back to my car complete. And I walked back to my car and drove here. And now we are about to start the Tao of Women. So let's see what unfolds in this practice. Thank you for witnessing me on this beautiful journey this morning of listening, being guided by my essence to communicate and gently, sweetly carrying prayers to the water, across the bridge, to hand them over to the white birds that carry them to heaven. And then I simply return, cleansed and complete. Thank you. Thank you for you listening to your prayers and being guided and listening and the work that you do.